Hey, it's Chris, Liege Games. So, January is done. Fiend, kaput. Let's talk what was January from crowdfunding standpoint. What did you back? What did you like? What did you wish you could have gotten? What did you wish you didn't back? Anything stand out? Anything sound good? Let's take a look. I'll tell you what I did and what I didn't, the mistakes I made, the issues that sort of came up, and my thoughts going forward from January as well. So let's take a look. Yeah, first up, can't ignore it. Game found, ISS Vanguard. You know all about it. Did I back it? Yes. This is a game, like I have done with many of the other Awaken Realms projects, I backed a little reluctantly, more so than I was expecting, to be completely transparent. But I only back for the core pledge on a lot of these games because I want to sort of feel it out. I am a one-wave shipping type person in these games, which, depending on how you feel, definitely can bite you in the you-know-what sometimes if it's really, really good. But at the same time, like I see in the comment section almost on every video, we all have too many anyway. So what does it matter if I get it, 6 months before or 6 months, 8 months later? Honestly, it probably doesn't matter a whole lot. But this is a great game of what ifs. Is this game going to live up to the hype? I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. I'm happy with it. I'm happy I backed the core. I'm not sure how many of these other add-ons I'm actually going to get. And believe me, they're tempting. They're aplenty. The gameplay extensions and the expansions are probably going to be what I'm going to add in the Pledge Manager because I like spreading the funds out and not having this huge whopping credit card bill 1 month at a time. It makes me feel slightly better about these purchases. So I'm probably going to get both of those. The biggest question for me is whether or not I'm going to Sundrop. I want to, but to get another $60 of just painting on them, ugh, it's tough. It's real tough. So I think for the price point for the base game is great. My biggest concern, like I said earlier on the whether or not you should back it, is can Awaken Realms stop with the bloat for the sake of bloat? And can they deliver a very core, tight, well thought out game? I don't know what sort of testing Awaken Realms has outside of their bubble. But I think something was missed when it came to Etherfields and why Etherfields has gotten a little bit of ding, by some of the bigger reviewers because, and even some of the lay people like myself, to say, you know what, these are issues that you clearly, hopefully, should have been able to address. And is it, you're so focused on it, you're so, that some stuff like that just slips through because it's not something as a person who hasn't played it dozens or hundreds of times that you just can't see anymore. And I don't know. I don't know what their process is like, but I'd be interested to know because they were very exact with some of the rules, it sounded like, in terms of the preparation that I guess the people who were prototyping it and putting up videos, they had like a 3 or 4 hour session of Q&A and instruction before they even allowed people to sort of make videos on it. So that kind of makes me nervous in terms of learning and overhead in this game, but we'll see. If I'm not liking Tainted Grail or if I'm not enjoying Etherfields, by the time I get around to having this or having to decide whether or not I'm going to get the additional stuff, that's why I initially pledge just the core on this. So if I'm going to get burned, I'm only going to get burned for slightly less. Because as with a lot of these games, like Awaken Realms especially, if it's halfway decent, you can make your money back very easily on the core pledge because of the amount of stuff you're getting, especially with the big expansion that comes with this, I think, for free. But if you get a lot of the other stuff and you end up spending $300 or $400, it's hard to find someone who's willing to give that amount unless it becomes just the massive, overwhelming hit that Nemesis was. And those, let's be honest, those are few and far between. Those are not even necessarily more than like once a year at most. At most. Maybe like Cthulhu Death May Die, maybe Nemesis. Those are the type of games where you'll see the value skyrocket in the second market. Very few others will. So all in all, I'm happy. I like dice. I like chucking dice. I like exploration. I love the sci-fi space exploration. I like the fact that there's actually not a lot of battle and combat. It just makes it a little bit sort of that side of things. But whether or not they can deliver just this, not good, not very good, Can you deliver excellence? And I think some of the too much of a good thing has been their problem in the past. So we'll see. So, full disclaimer. Next up. You may have seen me say this in the comment section. Several people asked. As you can see, I did not pledge this. My decision was actually quite firm after I made the video and after I played Betrayal at Mystery Mansion with my kids one more time, that I am going to, I think, sell or trade away Betrayal at Mystery Mansion and was going to get Scooby-Doo the board game. I missed the deadline. I totally wasn't paying attention. I did not have it bookmarked or alarmed, and I totally missed it. So I am going to be one of these people late pledging right here and getting Scooby-Doo the board game, because the exclusives, I know that the miniatures might not be the best painted. I'm not sure they're going to be anywhere near probably what the Street Fighter miniatures game is that hopefully should be coming in the next month or two. But I think the gameplay is much better there. It is much less random. It is much less just roll and move. I'm horribly unimpressed the more and more I think about it, about the dice in Betrayal and Mystery Mansion and the lack of ability to even mitigate despite the ways that they give it to you in a positive way. I just can't get over that. And it's just not as fun with my kids as I thought it was going to be. So when my kids get older, this is going to be that game, I think, for me. So I will be late pledging this, but I screwed up. First time this has actually happened, that I wanted to get in at the last second and I didn't. I've had it a couple other times where I got in at the last second and then I got the game and I was like, man, I shouldn't have gotten in at the last second. That was a mistake. But this is one that I did the other way, and, well, there you go. So of games and campaigns ending, that's the key disclaimer here, ending in January, that is all that I backed. So not a whole lot. Now, February is going to be a whole different story, depending on what else launches in February and when some of these end dates are in February. February might be a much, much more expensive month when it comes to that. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. So we'll see what February looks like. March is going to be the same thing, and so is April. I don't know. So what games did I get in my collection, though, this month? What arrived? And let me update that. I don't know if people care about that. Do you care what else I get, what else I play? So what all arrived in January? Bloodborne. Super excited to get this to the table. I've got it sitting on my kitchen counter. As soon as I can read the rules and convince my brother-in-law to play, I think it's going to be right up our alley. I did not get all of the expansions, which I kind of regret because of the comments that are out there about how this is really probably one of the better CMON games that they put out in the past couple of years. I didn't get, what was it? I have the Blood Moon. I didn't get Bergenworth. I didn't get the Forbidden... I got the Forbidden Woods. I did not get the Forsaken Castle. I didn't get the Upper Cathedral. And I didn't get the Unseen Village. And mainly, and I sort of had to remind myself, I went to the Kickstarter page afterwards. I'll pull it up here. And I had to remind myself why I didn't get them. Because, you know, a couple of them are actually Kickstarter exclusive. And that really burns me if I can't get them sometimes, especially if the game turns out to be this good. And I remember now why I didn't back them, because frankly speaking, some of the most grotesque, ugly miniatures with those 3 expansions that I've seen. And it's just like these are okay. Like, I like this. This is a sweet looking beast monster. Again, these are nice. These aren't something grotesque. It's not something I'm going to be embarrassed to have on my kitchen table. But then you start getting down to some of these other expansions. And let me see if I can find them here. So here you go. The Forbidden Woods. That was the one I got. So that one's a limited print run. This is the Forsaken Castle. Like, these things are just ugly up here. Hunter's Dream, I got that. The Upper Cathedral Ward, Bergenworth, and the Unseen Village. So you can just pull these up real quick. And I just think these are ugly as all get out. This one is by far the best. So this is the one I think I would probably pick up the most. But it's just, the miniatures are just not attractive at all. Like that. Like, what? I'm not looking for grotesque. I want something that I can play with my kids that's not going to be, like, terrifying or just, you know, embarrassing. And it's just creepy for the sake of creepy sometimes with some of these. And I know you're trying to stay true to the actual game itself, but there's a limit in which you can tolerate that. Same thing with this. Like, what is this thing? What are these things? That, okay, seen that in Cthulhu, seen that in some D&D-esque stuff, but that? No. That? No. My kid saw this and he's like, Dad, what is that? And I'm like, Dad, buddy, I don't know. So I just can't see myself buying that unless I can get it for probably less, or I become so enamored with this game that the aesthetics are just completely overlooked, and I just want more of this. And I don't know, like I said, I haven't gotten to the table, so I can't give that assessment yet. But same thing with this, like spiders. I don't like spiders. Spiders are creepy as all get out, and this isn't any better. So that is a big turnoff for me. These things are just big turnoffs for me. From an aesthetic gameplay standpoint, I don't care how good it is if it looks like that to me, and it makes me feel that way. Same thing with this. Like that, no, thank you. So I got Bloodborne. So hopefully I'll have some thoughts on it later, so I can maybe compare it to some other CMON stuff. Maybe I'll do one of those board game co videos in the future if people are interested in, like, hey, rank my favorite CMON games, because I have a bunch of them. So next up, I actually got Crimson Company. I don't usually get smaller games like this because I've been burned too many times in the past. And this is mainly a 2-player game. I know it says 1 to 4, but you're basically buying sellswords, putting them on a table, and you have different columns that they will affect things. I think you have like 3 columns, and you're putting them down, and they have abilities that affect other things in the columns, other things on your side of the columns, and other things on the other side of the columns. And you're either buying them, but you're also sort of auctioning, bidding, so the other person has a chance to match it. And it just seems something, hopefully, that my wife or my 7-year-old will be able to get into, especially now that he can read. And I came with, I think, I got the expansion with it. I believe that was the Ragnarok expansion and the Other Side expansion. And they just announced that they're going to be putting out the Wildwood Tales. So I need to actually get this played to see whether or not it's going to be something I like. There's a lot of Take That. It's a 2-player game. So if those aren't of interest to you, this is completely a pass for you. But it was interesting enough. I watched a little gameplay when it was on Kickstarter, and it wasn't terribly expensive, and it just seems very up my alley. I'm going to be really intrigued to see how this actually plays. This is my only retail thing I've gotten at all recently, and this was actually a pay it forward to me, and it was pre-ordered that way. Otherwise, as I said previously, I don't really pre-order things from retail. Renature, this would have actually been on my radar well before the Shut Up and Sit Down video that got the review of it. But it's a polyomino game where you're basically creating this little forest map where you see this river that sort of runs around, and you have to place animals next to each other matching on the river. And then when you place them down, you can also see these other squares right here, and you can't really see this well from above, but there are trees. And when you enclose the trees fully, then you score. And you score not only based on the most that you have, but if you have a tree that is a higher value, because you have trees that are 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. And so if your 4 is higher than other people's, you're going to get more points for that. So, and then you go until basically the board is almost filled up. It's a beautiful looking game. I think it's going to be really thinky, to be honest. I was reading the rules, and it just seems quite thinky in how you're putting those polyominoes down. Here you can see the different trees and the different values. The 1s, 2s, 3s, and then the 4 over here. Again, I think it's going to be thinkier, and I think it's going to be a game for my wife and I to play. And whether or not she's going to like it if it's a little too thinky. I mean, the actual gameplay of laying the polyominoes is down, but the scoring with those trees and these little flower tokens that are another aspect is much more nuanced and complicated. So it's definitely going to be a learning curve, I think, with a couple games when you first start to play it. But I'm excited by it because I don't really have anything else like it. I ended up getting Tainted Grail right before the end of January as well. I got the expansions with the stretch goals. I got the Age of Legends with the Last Night campaign. I got what else was it? The Echoes of the Past here. And then I also got the Red Death expansion. So I got all the gameplay stuff. I have yet to get it out, but my 7-year-old, next week, 7-year-old, is super interested in it. He was super intrigued by the boxes when they came. And so I'm hopefully going to be trying to learn that and get the core game played, because I think it would be a perfect game for me and him to play. He's old enough to read. He's old enough probably to help me make some decisions. And it just, hopefully the gameplay is going to grasp us enough that it's going to be worth it. I've read the positives and the negatives. And right now I'm hoping that the positives outweigh the negatives for me with the theme and the content and how I can play it with him. That's that. The only other thing that really, I think, came into my collection was I ended up trading for some BSG, actually. Some Battlestar Galactica core game with some expansions from some stuff that I didn't really need in the first place. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet either. I could very easily keep it. I could very easily sell it right now too. I'm just trying to decide if it's going to be something that I'll ever have the chance to get to the table, or if it's better worth, the price is going to be what it's going to be for a while. I'm not looking to get rid of it, but it's one of those that's sort of on my trade pile, but I'm also really not interested in trading it, if that makes sense. I'm sure you have games like that. We'll see what happens with that one. I could easily go one way or the other, just depending on my mood, if you will. What did you guys get? What did you guys order? What did you back? What are you looking at for February? February is going to be a big month. I'm going to try to decide. Obviously, I did Primal, so Primal's going to be in the next video for February. Bloodstone, if that ends in February, I'm probably going to be getting that. Be on the lookout. Quackalope is going to have a gameplay. James Hudson said on Twitter that Quackalope is getting the prototype, so he'll have a video up on the Kickstarter page or on his channel even before then. Human Punishment is probably my next highest game that I'm looking at backing in February, based on all of the ones that I've talked about over the last 2 weeks. So those are probably the 3 biggest ones on my radar. Again, there's going to be probably something else that pops up, but hopefully nothing else that ends in February. I've got a couple Gather games coming, hopefully in February. I'm forgetting, hopefully, I don't think Street Fighter the Miniatures game will be here in February. They haven't even done the shipping price yet for that. I know there's a couple other Kickstarters that I'm forgetting about that will probably be coming, but I'll let you know. And hopefully, as soon as I can get some of this stuff played, we'll have more thoughts, and we'll make more videos. I'll do more comparisons. We'll just keep up with the Kickstarters, and we'll have more conversation. Cool. Hope you liked it. Hope it was insightful. A little bit more into my personal taste inside of things. If not, ignore it. So, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out this January. You guys have been amazing over the last 30 days, and I'll put this in the front of another video. We have literally like doubled my channel subscribers in the last 30 days. So I just want to say thank you so much. That is just freaking amazing, because it took like 3.5 months to get to like 300. And then the last month or so, we have gone from like 300 to nearly 700, which is amazing. I want to get to 1,000 to do the community thing. I want to get out there and, get a community of what we like expressed more. So hopefully with your help, I can do it. Thanks. See you around. Stay classy out there.